Chosen one. Have you ever wondered how you managed to endure so much and still walk with grace? They thought you'd shatter, that the weight of betrayal and sabotage would crush you. But instead, you rose, not in retaliation, not in rage, but in radiance. Your elegance isn't something you put on. It's something you are. It's your birthright. And it's leaving those who doubted you completely stunned. You didn't just survive what was meant to break you. You transcended it. And you did it with an aura that commands respect and admiration. If this message already speaks to your soul, subscribe, like this video, and comment 77 below. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll understand why your journey has not only set you apart, but has also been preparing you for something far greater. You rose without retaliation. You stood against what felt like an unrelenting tide. They pushed, they prodded, they tried every tactic to get a reaction, to see you falter. But instead of giving in, you took a deep breath and stood firm. You didn't shout or fight. You didn't lower yourself to their level. You let your actions and your grace speak louder than words ever could. The most profound thing about your journey is that you chose the higher road when it was the hardest road to take. And as you stayed true to yourself, you began to see the cracks in their facade. Their carefully constructed illusions started to break down, not because you exposed them, but because their own actions exposed themselves. You simply stayed steady, and that steadiness became the beacon that revealed the truth. It wasn't easy. You felt every betrayal, every harsh word, every undermining move. There were moments when you questioned yourself, when it seemed unfair that you had to keep holding your peace. But each time you chose to rise above, you grew stronger. Every time you refused to retaliate, you found more clarity, more strength, more purpose. This wasn't about them. It was about you. And while they couldn't understand it, that choice to rise without retaliation refined you. It purified your intentions, deepened your resolve, and gave you a kind of power they couldn't grasp. Your decision to remain composed wasn't weakness. It was mastery. The turning point came when you realized that their behavior wasn't a reflection of you, but of them. They were driven by fear, insecurity, and a desperate need to control what they didn't understand. Proverbs 25 verses 21 to 22 reminds us that by showing grace even in the face of adversity, you're not just maintaining your integrity, you're showing the contrast between your actions and your character. The wisdom of that verse came alive in your story. By choosing kindness, by choosing not to retaliate, you heap burning coals on their heads, not out of malice, but because your light made their shadows impossible to ignore. It was never about revenge. It was about staying aligned with your true self. And in doing so, the divine brought their illusions to the surface. As time passed, you started to see signs that everything was shifting. The more you refused to engage in their games, the more your circumstances began to change. You noticed how new opportunities started appearing, how supportive people began to enter your life, how your environment seemed to align with your highest good. Even those who once doubted you started to question their judgments. It was as if the universe itself was responding to your unwavering grace. The more you stayed true, the clearer it became that divine timing was at work. All of those moments of holding your peace were paying off. The transformation was undeniable, and it was happening all around you. It's important to remember that this wasn't about passivity. You weren't just enduring, you were evolving. While they were busy playing their games, you were quietly building your character, building your inner strength, building a foundation that no amount of scheming could ever shake. And it was this silent growth, this hidden preparation, that turned into a blessing. What they meant for harm became your stepping stone. You turned their negativity into your elevation. And it wasn't because you fought harder, it was because you grew deeper. When you look back now, you can see how higher forces were always working in your favor. What felt like isolation was actually preparation. What seemed like rejection was divine redirection. As you stayed grounded in grace, the divine aligned everything to clear your path. The synchronicities, the unexpected breaks, the moment of clarity, all of it was proof that you were not only being protected, but also being prepared for something greater. The spiritual alignment became undeniable. Your calling was never in question. It was just waiting for you to step into it with the grace and resilience you had been cultivating all along. As you fully step into this truth, you may feel a sense of release. Release from needing to prove yourself. Release from the weight of their expectations. Release from any lingering fear or doubt. This is the moment of self-realization, when you truly see yourself for who you are. When you embrace the transformation that's been taking place within you, you'll find that the fear of the unknown begins to fade. You'll realize that you're not stepping into uncertainty. You're stepping into purpose. This is a sacred moment, one where you recognize the power of your choices, the depth of your growth, and the beauty of your journey. You understand now that you're no longer bound by their expectations or their games. You're free, and now it's time to take the next step. It's time to move forward with clarity, with purpose, and with the confidence that comes from knowing you rose without retaliation. This is your moment to fully embody your strength, to fully own your grace. Encourage yourself to keep trusting the process, to keep deepening your spiritual practice, to keep walking this path of integrity. With every step, you affirm your identity, your resilience, and your divine calling. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. Just keep shining, keep growing, keep rising. You have always had the power to rise above, and now you see that this power is not just for you, it's for the world. The example you set, the grace you've shown, the light you carry, it's all a reminder to others that no matter what challenges they face, they too can rise. They too can find their way through darkness into light. You have become a living testament to the truth that strength doesn't have to shout, it only needs to shine. The grace that broke their illusion. You might not have realized it at first, but the moment you chose grace over retaliation, you dismantled their illusions. Their entire plan relied on you responding in kind, fighting back, losing control, proving their narrative right. Instead, you stayed calm, poised, unbothered. This threw them off balance. It wasn't the reaction they were hoping for, and that lack of reaction was louder than any argument you could have made. You didn't just maintain your dignity, you revealed their lack of it, in their attempts to make you appear unstable. They only highlighted their own chaos. Your grace broke the facade they so carefully constructed, exposing the cracks in their story without you ever having to lift a finger. It's one thing to remain calm when everything is peaceful, but it's another to stay composed in the midst of chaos. They saw your composure as weakness, but it was actually the most potent display of strength. While they scrambled to control the narrative, you embodied the very qualities they lacked: peace, clarity, and resilience. Their attempts to rattle you only magnified your stillness. It was this unwavering calm that became a mirror, reflecting their own insecurities and fears. No matter how much noise they made, your quiet grace was deafening. And in that silence, the truth began to emerge, showing everyone who really held the power in the situation. This wasn't just about remaining calm for the sake of appearances. It was about embodying the light that no darkness could extinguish. John 1 verse 5 tells us, "The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it." That's what happened in your story. Your inner light became undeniable. It didn't matter how much negativity they threw at you. Their efforts couldn't touch the essence of who you are. Each time you chose peace, you shine brighter. They thought their manipulation would weaken you, but it only clarified your strength. They expected you to crumble, but instead, you radiated an unshakable calm. And in that radiance, their darkness couldn't help but reveal itself for what it truly was. The more they pushed, the more their control slipped away. Your grace was like a steady flame that no amount of wind could extinguish. And because you refused to be drawn into their storm, their illusion began to unravel. The narrative they created, the image they tried to impose on you, couldn't hold up under the weight of your truth. They thought they could rewrite your story, but your grace was the original script. It was authentic, unedited, and untouchable. It showed that you didn't need to fight their way to win. By simply remaining true to yourself, you disarmed them completely. In time, this grace began to ripple outward. Those who had been swayed by their lies started to see things differently. People noticed that you weren't engaging in their games, that you weren't retaliating. Instead, you were living your truth with dignity. And in that dignified stance, others saw the stark contrast between your integrity and their manipulation. Your choice to remain composed became a lesson, not just for them, but for everyone watching. It demonstrated that real power isn't about controlling others. It's about controlling yourself. And that kind of power can't be taken away or undermined. This transformation didn't happen overnight. It was a result of inner work, of choosing to trust your values and your spiritual foundation. It wasn't always easy. There were moments when the temptation to fight back was strong. But each time, you remember that your grace was not just an act of strength, but a reflection of your divine alignment. You understood that your light wasn't just for you. It was for those around you who needed to see what grace under fire really looked like. And as you continue to rise above, you set an example of what it means to lead with integrity. Ultimately, your grace wasn't just about breaking their illusion. It was about affirming your own truth. It was about standing firm in who you are, knowing that no amount of manipulation could change your inner light. As you stayed grounded, their illusions dissolved. Their power games lost their grip. And you emerged, not only unbroken, but shining more brightly than ever. You didn't need to fight fire with fire, because your light outshined the flames. In the end, their illusion wasn't just broken, it was completely undone, and all you had to do was be exactly who you were meant to be. If you've been feeling the power of your own transformation, drop grace in the comments below. And I want to give a special thanks to all the members of our community who continue to support each other on this journey. And if you feel called to go even deeper, there's a sacred space reserved for our community, a private room where you receive full prophetic messages daily. Join our private membership through the link in the description and walk this path with us. Energy vampires can no longer feed. In those days, it seemed as if your compassion knew no limits. You gave without hesitation, reaching out to others with open hands and an open heart. But that generosity often went unreciprocated, leaving you feeling drained, unappreciated, and questioning your own worth. The people you care for seemed to take and take, leaving you depleted and questioning why you felt so tired, so empty. You didn't understand it at first. You thought love meant always saying yes, always being available. But as time went on, you began to realize that what you were giving wasn't just kindness. It was your very life force. And the more you gave to those who only took, the more you lost sight of your own value. It wasn't easy to admit that some of the relationships you cherished were built on uneven ground. The realization was painful, like uncovering a betrayal you've been blind to for years. You saw how certain people sought you out only when they needed something. Your comfort, your support, your energy. They never gave back, never filled your cup. It was a cycle of taking that left you feeling used, invisible, and exhausted. You loved them, but you couldn't keep carrying them. The weight of always being their anchor was too heavy, and the cost to your soul was too great. As you came to terms with this, you felt a mix of sadness and relief, knowing that change was both necessary and inevitable. The turning point came when you began to see these interactions for what they truly were, not love, but energy theft. You realized that love is reciprocal, that true connection fills rather than depletes. As you reflected on this, you found solace in the words of Psalm 91 verse 4. He will cover you with his feathers, and under his wings you will find refuge. His faithfulness will be your shield and rampart. That promise of divine protection became a beacon of hope, reminding you that you were never meant to give until you had nothing left. Instead, you were meant to thrive under the shield of spiritual alignment, where your energy was cherished, not consumed. This was the moment when everything changed, when you saw clearly that your light wasn't meant for everyone, and that those who truly loved you would never leave you empty. As you stepped into this new understanding, you began to notice profound shifts. The people who once called only to vent, to take, to lean without giving back, started to fade away. Their calls stopped. Their presence in your life diminished. At first, you wondered if you were pushing them away, but then you realized you had simply stopped being available for their one-sided needs. It was as if an invisible barrier had risen, a divine boundary that protected your energy, your peace, and your inner light. With each passing day, you felt lighter, freer, more connected to yourself and to your purpose. The space they left behind was filled with a calm you hadn't known in years. You could finally breathe without the constant pressure of meeting everyone else's expectations. It wasn't just about removing toxic people. It was about reclaiming your sacred ground. You began to see yourself as a sanctuary, a place where only those who honored and respected your energy could enter. This shift in perspective changed everything. You no longer felt guilty for saying no. You no longer felt obligated to answer every call, to solve every problem that wasn't yours to fix. Instead, you focus on nurturing your own spirit, on giving to yourself the care and attention you had so freely given others. This self-care wasn't selfish. It was essential. It allowed you to become whole again, to radiate from a place of fullness rather than depletion. As you grew stronger, the boundaries you set became second nature. You didn't have to explain or justify them anymore. The people who truly valued you respected these boundaries without question. They saw your growth, your newfound peace, and they supported it. And those who couldn't, they simply drifted away, unable to thrive in the light you now guarded so fiercely. This shift wasn't about creating walls. It was about establishing a sanctuary. Your energy became a sacred resource, shared only with those who brought love, respect, and positivity into your life. Now, when you look back, you see that the journey wasn't just about keeping energy vampires at bay. It was about learning what true love and connection look like. It was about understanding that your light is precious, not to be taken for granted or exploited. Psalm 91 verse 4 reminded you that you were always protected, that under divine wings, you would find refuge and strength. This realization allowed you to stand tall, to shine without fear, and to live in a state of grace and peace. Your energy is no longer something anyone can take. It's something you choose to share with intention, with care, and with love. Divine union on the horizon. There's a part of you that's felt alone on this journey. You walked a path many wouldn't understand, faced struggles that could have broken you, and carried a strength that few can see. At times, you may have wondered if anyone could truly meet you at your level, if someone could see not just your surface, but the depth of your soul. That question, that longing for a deeper connection, is not a weakness. It's a reflection of the love and light you carry within. You're not alone in this feeling. Many chosen ones walk through life, wondering if they're meant to travel solo forever. But the truth is, the very experiences that made you feel isolated are the ones that are aligning you with someone who resonates on the same frequency, someone who has also walked a path of transformation and emerged with a heart as open and powerful as yours. The challenge has always been finding someone who understands the unique depth of your spirit. You've seen relationships fall apart because they were built on illusion. You felt the sting of rejection when others couldn't grasp the truth of who you are. Those moments of heartbreak, though painful, were never in vain. They served a purpose. They taught you to see beyond surface-level connections and to recognize the kind of partnership that can withstand both the storms and the light. When you were misunderstood, it wasn't because you were too much or too different. It was because the ones who tried to hold you didn't have the capacity to carry that kind of light. And so, the universe removed them from your life, not to punish you, but to prepare you for something greater, something real. Through this refining process, you began to understand what a true connection looks like. It's not just about companionship. It's about alignment. It's about two souls coming together not to fill each other's voids, but to magnify their strengths. This is where divine union enters the picture. In Genesis 2 verse 24 we read, "That is why a man leaves his father and mother and is united to his wife, and they become one flesh." This isn't about losing yourself or becoming dependent on someone else. It's about two whole beings coming together in harmony, each one bringing their full, authentic selves to the union. You're no longer seeking someone to complete you. You're looking for someone who complements you, someone who can stand beside you in truth and light. The signs of this approaching union are subtle but undeniable. You've noticed shifts in your energy. You felt an inner calm, a quiet confidence that wasn't there before. Opportunities that once seemed distant now feel close at hand. You've started to attract people and situations that align with your values and your vision. It's as if the universe is clearing the path, making way for the arrival of this divine connection. These are not random coincidences. They're synchronicities, gentle nudges in the divine that reassure you you're on the right track. And as you continue to focus on your own growth, you'll find these signs becoming more frequent, more clear, and more affirming. This isn't about waiting passively for someone to appear. It's about preparing yourself, not just externally, but internally. It's about aligning your heart, your mind, and your spirit so that when this divine union comes, You're ready to embrace it fully. The love you're preparing for is not like the love you've known before. It's not transactional or superficial. It's a meeting of two energies that have been guided together by divine timing and purpose. This is a love that reflects the best parts of who you are, while also encouraging you to grow further. The union on the horizon is one that will amplify your light, deepen your joy, and bring a new level of purpose and fulfillment to your life. But this kind of connection requires more than just desire. It requires faith. Faith that the universe knows what it's doing. Faith that every heartbreak, every delay, every closed door was part of a greater plan. As you open yourself to this possibility, you'll find that your inner world becomes more peaceful, more centered. You'll see the beauty in the timing of things. You'll understand that you had to go through what you went through to become the person you are now. And as you embrace this faith, you'll notice a shift in your energy, a lightness, a sense of readiness, a feeling of certainty that what's meant for you is already on its way. Now, it's up to you to welcome this change. Let go of the fears and doubts that may have held you back. Release the old patterns that no longer serve you. Step fully into the person you become, knowing that the universe is aligning everything for your highest good. Trust that this union isn't just about romantic love. It's about a partnership that elevates your soul. It's about building a life with someone who sees you, respects you, and loves you for exactly who you are. And as you continue to walk this path, you'll feel a growing sense of certainty that your divine partner is on their way. As you move forward, remember this. You are not only worthy of this love, you are ready for it. Your journey has prepared you. Your challenges have refined you. And now, your energy is drawing someone who will meet you on every level. Keep your heart open, your spirit aligned, and your faith strong. The universe is working in your favor, and what's ahead is more beautiful than you can imagine. You were always royal, now it shows. You've always felt something different inside you, haven't you? A quiet, unshakable knowing that set you apart, even when you couldn't put it into words. It's that inner voice, that deep resonance, that told you there was more to your story, more to you. But how could you explain that to others when they only saw the surface? When the world tried so hard to tell you that you weren't enough, that you didn't belong, that you had to prove yourself over and over again just to be seen. They couldn't recognize what was hidden in plain sight. The royalty within you, the grace that never needed validation. Even when you doubted yourself, even when their voices grew loud, that quiet truth inside you never wavered. And now, finally, it's undeniable. The challenges you faced weren't random. They weren't just bad luck or coincidence. Each trial was carefully placed, each obstacle a refinement process that was never meant to break you, but to reveal you. At times, it felt cruel, like the universe was asking too much, like the weight was unbearable. You questioned why you, of all people, had to endure so much. But deep down, you sensed there was a reason, even if you couldn't fully understand it yet. The times you were overlooked, underestimated, or dismissed were not because you were lesser. It was because your light, your true royal essence, was still being prepared. Those moments of rejection, as painful as they were, became the forge that strengthened you, that clarified your purpose, that reminded you of your worth. You didn't lose yourself in those moments. You found yourself. And now, as you step into this new chapter, you see the turning point more clearly than ever. This was never about acquiring something external to prove your value. It was about uncovering what was always there. 1 Peter 2 verse 9 tells us, "But you are a chosen people, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, God's special possession, that you may declare the praises of him who called you out of darkness into his wonderful light." Those words aren't just poetic. They're your reality. You've been called out of the darkness of self-doubt, of external judgment, of forgetting who you are, and into the light of your true identity. You didn't earn your royalty. You simply remembered it. And that changes everything. Now that the fog has lifted, the signs of your transformation are everywhere. The way you carry yourself has shifted. You've noticed how people respond to you differently now. Not because you're trying to be noticed, but because you're no longer hiding. Your light is impossible to ignore. When you speak, your words carry more weight. When you enter a room, you bring a sense of calm and authority. Without saying a word, you've stopped seeking approval from others, and yet It's as if the world is now drawn to you. This isn't about arrogance or pride. It's about alignment. When you finally embrace the truth of who you are, everything around you begins to reflect that truth back. It's undeniable, unshakable, and deeply real. What's truly remarkable is that this transformation isn't just a personal victory. It's a divine alignment. You stopped seeing your past struggles as failures and started recognizing them as preparation. The setbacks weren't meant to stop you. They were meant to shape you. The rejections weren't about your worth. They were about making sure you didn't settle for anything less than what you deserve. The synchronicities you've experienced, the moments of clarity that seem to come out of nowhere, are no accident. They're the universe's way of clearing your path, of making sure you step fully into your role as a sovereign being you were always meant to be. This isn't a coincidence. It's divine timing. And now, you're finally ready. At this point, you can no longer pretend you're anything less than what you are. The world tried to keep you small, to make you forget, but you can't unsee what you now know. Your royalty isn't about titles or possessions. It's about the way you move through life. It's about the grace with which you face challenges, the compassion you show others, the light you radiate without effort. This is who you've always been. But now you own it. You embrace it. And in doing so, you inspire others to find their own light, their own truth, their own royalty. What once felt like a lonely path now feels like a calling. You're not just living for yourself. You're living for something greater, something that reaches beyond you. From here, the next step is clear. It's time to fully embody your truth, to walk with the quiet confidence of someone who knows their worth, to act not from fear or doubt, but from love and certainty. This is your time to build, to create, to lead. You've learned the lessons, faced the tests, and come out stronger on the other side. Now, it's about using that strength to elevate not just yourself, but everyone around you. You don't have to force anything. Just by being who you are, by standing in your light, you give others permission to do the same. That is the power of true royalty. That is the essence of grace. And it's what you've always carried within. As you move forward, remember that this is just the beginning. The journey you've been on has prepared you, but it hasn't defined you. What defines you is what you choose to do now, in this moment, with everything you've gained. The world is watching, not out of judgment, but out of awe, because you are living proof that light wins. Every time. So step into your royal essence fully, without hesitation, without apology. The time for doubt is over. The time for light is now. From the very beginning, your journey has been nothing short of extraordinary. The pain, the obstacles, the relentless self-doubt, all of it has shaped you into the person you are now. But even with all the transformation you've experienced, there's a deeper truth waiting for you. Your journey isn't just about your survival. It's about stepping into your higher purpose, embracing the light within you, and becoming a source of inspiration for others. You may feel tired, stretched thin, or uncertain about what comes next. That's because you're on the cusp of something profound. This moment isn't just another chapter. It's the beginning of your expansion. You've come so far, and now the horizon is open, inviting you to go even further. Every challenge you faced was not only a test, but also a preparation. Those tears you shed, the nights you spent questioning yourself, the times you felt like giving up, all of it was leading you here. Now, the trials that once weighed so heavily have become stepping stones, lifting you higher with each step. This isn't just your story anymore. It's becoming a blueprint, a guide for others who see what you've endured and what you've become. Your resilience, your grace under pressure, your refusal to let circumstances define you. These have transformed you into someone whose impact stretches beyond the self. You're no longer just living for yourself. You're living to light the way for others, to show them what's possible. What's happening now is more than personal growth. It's a shift in the energy around you. As you step fully into who you are meant to be, you'll notice that your very presence begins to change the atmosphere. People are drawn to your authenticity, to the calm confidence that comes from knowing who you truly are. You didn't just survive what should have broken you. You transcended it with grace. And now, you stand as a testament to the power of resilience, elegance, and divine purpose. Subscribe if you haven't yet, like this video, and comment "I am chosen" to let this message anchor in your soul. Share it with someone who needs to hear this. 4 full prophetic revelations daily. Join the membership via the link in the description. Your spiritual path deserves more than fragments. Step into the full light. Thank you for being here, for shining your light, and for proving that no darkness can ever dim your glow.